Good day, my name is Hu, and I've always been very interested in combining interactions with storytelling and what possibilities new technology could bring into this context. My thesis is called Glance. It uses eye tracking technology to drive forward an animated real-life story. It explores a new way of telling a story through visual eye tracking. An eye tracking system generally includes two common components, a light source and a camera. The light source, usually infrared, is directed through the eye. The camera tracks the reflection of the light source along with the visible ocular features such as pupil. The collected data is written into a file that is compatible with eye tracking analysis software. I used the software that came with Toby, which turns out to be pretty handy. Then, based on some researches I did, I figured out that the typical applications today related to eye tracking technologies are in usabilities, such as the heat map on the website or the user attention detection in stores. Or in the game industry, you can direct your view in the game, you can interact with the characters, you can navigate inside the scene, or even play Fruit Ninja by just using your eyes. So there are so many typical applications of this particular technology. Why storytelling then? I started to think, what if the story could be told in different angles to different people? What if the viewer participate in creating their own version of story? And what if, in the end, I bring to their consciousness that how the story goes actually depend on what they choose to look at? For that purpose, I want to explore the possibilities. So I decided to use one of the commonly used eye tracking device named Toby. It can clip on the top of a screen without interfering with the audience view. They can experience any screen-based interactions in a natural way. I start to make early experiments with Toby. As you can see, users can interact with the 3D drawing in an accurate and real-time fashion. After knowing the potential of Toby, I started to think questions like how we can take advantage of eye tracking, how to direct users' gaze, and what kind of interactions are there that I could use. So I did a series of experiments to try it out. The first experiment is very simple. The yellow rectangular on the screen is actually the visualizer of my gaze position. I programmed it in a way that when you stare at the deer, it will turn its hand to you. Then the second interaction, I added this little monster. And since it robbed all our attention, the deer has run away. And I also added a gaze click function. It works a bit like zooming. Finally, a panning function where you use your eyes to direct the camera view. Now I feel comfortable with the technology, so I started to develop my own story. I adopted a real-life story of a musician who draws his inspiration from what he sees in his life through the use of eye tracking, hand-drawing animation, and interactive programming. In this digital narrative, you will look through the perspective of the musician and discover how his daily life inspires his music. And you, the viewer, will experience an everyday life through his lines. You will trigger scenes within the narrative by using your own eyes to glance at the animated element, which in turn reveal a unique visual and audio story. You are the musician now and working on the Times Square. There are so many interesting people walking by. Each of them is an interesting story. There are 3 people on the screen. I probably don't know why, but I somehow decided to look at the girl over here. Oh, the colors start to fill in the girl's finger. Curious, I looked at her for 2 more seconds this time. And she starts to walk toward me. I see her whistling, and I can imagine her story in my mind. And what a sunny day. I smell the fresh air and I see the cheerful young people. How would their laughter sound? Like this?
I'm gonna cry, oh my god!
Back to my studio now. I need to choose an instrument for my today's new piece. I look around and then the sound of different instruments appears. I started some improvising. Which isn't very satisfying. So I walk to the window of my office and look out. Because I choose what story I want to explore based on my gaze, I look at the man on the back. Is he ringing the bell? Is the woman texting her friends? I then sit back in front of my piano. I can recall the people I just saw. The last scene is created based on the people I've seen in the previous scenes. The final result of the story is a musical composition created by the choices I made with my gaze. The last scene changes based on each viewer. Here is a picture of the user test condition. Kate sits in front of the monitor with an eye-tracking device Toby clipped on the top of the screen. She can go through the whole story just by using her own eyes, without any other input such as mouse or touch panel. During the process, I do have lots of challenges. Because of individual differences, Devin needs to calibrate before he goes through the whole story. I've also considered how storytelling based on this technology can reach a broader audience, since not everybody has a Toby. My example that I showed you here is actually a very simple version of how this new technology can do. In the future, maybe all of us use our eyes to unlock hundreds of possibilities within just one frame. The beauty of everyday life sounds different for everybody. By using eye tracking technology, you become the main character. You decide how you unfold the story based on where you choose to look at. You are influence the story, and you have the agency to decide how the story unfolds based on where you look. Thank you.